McDonald's, Joe Biden, and Pearl Harbor are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is January 20th, 2022. It is the 20th day of the year. We got 345 days left. It is the third Tuesday in the fourth week and the 31st day of winter. Guess what? If today's your birthday, we got a new astrological sign. You are an Aquarius. Today is National Cheese Lovers Day. On National Cheese Lovers Day, don't feel blue. Blue spelt B-L-E-U. That's on their website. These things are so cheesy. Throw a feta or act capriciously. You know what? These are cringeworthy. I can't even read them anymore. On January 20th is a Gouda day to come over and have some cheddar. Or, I can't even read it. There's no firm evidence on how humans discovered cheese making, but it's here, it's with us, and we all enjoy cheese. Unless you're lactose intolerant. But today is National Cheese Day. There are so many cheesy lines here for cheese. I did it my own. I can't even read them. I'm moving on. Let's see what else happened on January 20th. 1841, Hong Kong Island is occupied by the British during the First Opium War. 1887, the United States Senate allows the Navy to lease Pearl Harbor as a naval base. One thing leads to another, and the Empire of Japan decides to bomb us. 1909, the newly formed automaker General Motors, or GM, buys into Oakland Motor Car Company, which later becomes the long-running Pontiac division. 1937, Franklin Delano Roosevelt and John Nance Garner are sworn in for their second term as U.S. President and U.S. Vice President. It is the first time the presidential inauguration takes place on January 20th since the 20th Amendment changed the dates for the presidential terms. 1974, China gains control over the Paracel Islands after a military engagement between the naval forces of China and South Vietnam. 1981, 20 minutes after Ronald Reagan is inaugurated as the 40th President of the United States of America, Iran releases 52 American hostages. This was kind of just a slap towards Jimmy Carter. They had problems with Jimmy Carter, a bunch of political stuff, but they didn't release them till they had a new president, just to stick it to Jimmy Carter. There's a lot of other things that go into it, but that was the main crux of it. 2009, a protest movement in Iceland culminates as the 2009 Icelandic financial crisis protests start. This was all part of the global economic downturn, and Iceland was big time into it. They lost a lot of money. 2021, Joe Biden is inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States of America. At 78, he becomes the oldest president ever inaugurated. Kamala Harris becomes the first female Vice President of the United States of America. Now, doesn't matter where you stand politically, those two things are very historical and have great significance here in the United States. I mean, it just goes to show young girls you could do anything. You know, I mean, you try and get that through to them. You can do anything you want. You can be a doctor, lawyer, whatever. Now you can tell them, look, you could be a vice president. Be a president someday. There's proof now. And then for us older folks, Joe Biden becoming the oldest president at 78 kind of shows older Americans you could still get a job whenever you want. A lot of times people after the age of 60, they kind of check themselves out. Oh, I can't get a job. I'm too old type thing. No, 78. He's the president. Movies released on January 20th, 2017. The Founder. The Founder is a biopic centered around Ray Kroc, the businessman who created McDonald's fast food empire. Michael Keaton played Ray Kroc in this movie, and I love this movie. Just the whole story of it. I mean, McDonald's is a big part of American life, and we've all been there, eaten there, and our kids played in their little playground areas. McDonald's is just a big part of the United States, and it was kind of neat to see how it started. And you also got to see that Ray Kroc was kind of an a-hole. But as the movie will show you, he started off as a salesman. Well, he had other jobs, but when he finally figured out McDonald's and what he was going to do with it, he was working as like a restaurant machine supply guy. And these guys needed milkshake machines. At the time, he was selling one or two to a restaurant, and that was it. You know, maybe get a couple sales every single month. This restaurant in San Bernardino, California, needed like 12. And it was so many that he actually called. He normally had a secretary call, but he called to make sure it was correct, the number. They said, yeah, we need 12. You better make it 14 when they're on the phone. He's all, I got to go see what's going on out here. So he drove from like Kansas City all the way out to San Bernardino, California to see what was going on at this place. And he was amazed. And eventually they went into business together and he became like the franchise salesman. One thing led to another and he screwed the brothers over. He basically ran the McDonald brothers out of the business. Now, I don't know how true this one is. I had, read that he'd run them out of the business and stuff like that, but they were able to keep their own restaurant in San Bernardino, but he opened up a normal McDonald's directly across the street from him. That's in the movie. Don't know how true it is, but I do know that after they closed down their place, Ray Kroc bought it and then tore it down and sold it to someone else. He didn't want anyone else having that restaurant for some reason. It was just weird. Anyway, as of 2018, McDonald's restaurants are in 120 restaurants and territories, serving 68 million customers each day. McDonald's operates 37,855 restaurants worldwide, employing 210,000 people. McDonald's owned like a majority of Chipotle for a long time, and Boston Market and Donato's Pizza. And they eventually kind of got out of all that and just sort of stuck with McDonald's. Born on January 20th, 1886, George Burns, American actor, comedian, and producer. I love George Burns. I used to see old things of him when he was on different shows with Gracie Allen. They were great together. And the movies, Oh God, with John Denver back in the 70s, those were great movies. He really played a good part there. He was born in 1896 and died at 100 years old in 1996. Died on January 20th. 2012, we lost Etta James, blues singer who released the hits like At Last and Something's Got a Hold on Me. She won multiple awards like Best Traditional Blues Album. She only received one Grammy Award for her song At Last. She released her first album in 1960 and her last in 2011. She was married in 1969, she had 2 children, and she died of leukemia on January 20th, 2012. Here's an interesting fact about her death. She was discovered by the American singer, musician, composer, arranger, band leader, Johnny Otis. Johnny Otis died 3 days before she did, on January 17th, 2012, 50 miles away from her. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a productive day, and be nice to each other.